Hello guys, all of you out there on YouTube. This is your good friend Wolf152. I've come on here today because I want to talk to you all about what is rapidly once again becoming my favorite build for the Wizard and one of my more preferred playstyles here in Diablo 3. And that is, fittingly, the subject of today's video. So, what better way to epitomize the rebirth of my interest in the Wizard class than by showing you all my Firebird Wizard. Now, I apologize for his current color scheme. I've been experimenting with different shades of dye color, because, you know, what other reason do I have to buy these fucking things other than to use them? But it's hard at times to find a color that really clicks with me. Like, this is alright. Like, I don't mind that. But at the same time, I'm probably now going to transmog my weapon and whatnot so that it matches somewhat this look that I'm going for. So, probably make that Doombringer, and then I'll turn yes, the Primordial Soul. Way better looking than the Firebird thing, if you ask me. So there we go. Some people may be like, oh, I'm not a fan, but you know what? It's my Wizard, and this is just what speaks to me. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the actual character. Now, Firebird's set, since its revamping, has become amazingly versatile. I am one of those players who kind of gave up on Wizard when Firebird got changed the first time, a couple patches ago, I believe it was, because it fell completely by the wayside with what Diablo was doing and with what Blizzard was doing with the game and revamping the sets and all that. So Wizard, for the longest time, didn't get a whole lot of love. And it saddened me in particular because I loved the playstyle of the Firebird set. The whole burning things down, because the fire effects for Wizard are always just so much more interesting than the others. But now we've got ourselves a Firebird set that is much easier to deal with. We've got items that help buff the damage of the primary skill that we're going to be running. And we even have a special surprise that makes it so, even with all the skills I have on my skill bar, I only have to cast one to cast all of them. But we'll get to that in a minute. So first, let's go over the gear. My gear is not perfect right now. Aside from the fact that I have very few ancients, I'm only running a Hellfire Amulet right now because I do not have a Traveler's Pledge. Traveler's Pledge would go much better with this build. Like, hands down, completely way better to get that Endless Walk set going for you. But for now, I've got the Unstable Anomaly passive on it, so, you know, it'll work for now. So, obviously, in order to run the Firebird set, you're going to need the pieces of the Firebird, naturally. So, I am running the 6-piece without the torso, so that I can have the Aquila Cuirass over here. But the Firebird got revamped. So it's now, when you die, a meteor falls from the sky and revives you. Effect has 60-second cooldown. That used to be the 4-set bonus, whereas the 4-set bonus used to be the 6-set bonus. So dealing fire damage causes the enemy to take the same amount of damage over 3 seconds, stacking up to 3000% weapon damage as fire per second. After reaching 3000 damage per second, the enemy will burn until they die. And the 6-set bonus, which really makes this build like viable now, is your damage is increased by 25% for each enemy that's burning, and elites that are burning increase your damage by 600%. But you can only have one elite damage bonus active at a time. But that's completely okay, because the amount of sheer damage that we do when we have an elite burning, when we're burning down mobs, is just crazy good. For a belt, we need Hergbrash's Binding. This reduces the arcane power cost of Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, and Ray of Frost. I love this belt because it gives you a choice of which of the channeling skills you want to use. Ray of Frost, not so much. I don't think is ever really going to be a weapon of choice, simply with how Firebird is. But there is an Arcane Torrent rune that is fire, that is decent in terms of channeling. But it feels like, of the 3 skills, Disintegrate's 18, Arcane's 16, and Ray of Frost is also 16. But with the amount of resource cost reduction I have on this wizard, I don't really need to worry about cooldown cost or resource cost. I'm running Ransler's Folly. These were just the bracers I happen to have on my wizard from back when I was running Delsiri on this particular set. But with the build I'm running for my actual Delsiri set now, I don't use Energy Twister. So I just threw these on this wizard, and it has actually been really nice, because it turns the arcane twisters that I have on my skill bar into a mini black hole, and helps me just group everything together. Like I said, Hellfire Amulet, best in slot would be Traveler's Pledge. I'm running the Halo of Arlis, and I got literally the perfect roll for the melee reduction, so I'm really happy about that. I'm trying to roll a little bit more critical hit damage, but for now, I relatively liked the rolls I got for this. I've got the compass rolls over here, and then for a weapon, I'm still looking for, I need a Ravalodny gift, so I can make this way better than what it is right now. But the main reason we want Death Wish is this channeling damage increase, which I'm 3% away from the max, but honestly, who cares at this point? So that's, and of course we've got the Aquila Cuirass, so while we're above a certain resource amount, we get damage mitigation, which for whatever reason, between the resource cost and the and just arcane power regeneration, I guess, because I've got, where is it? I've got 17% resource cost on my actual gear, and then I've got 24% in total arcane power cost reduction thanks to the Paragon points. So that helps. In our Kunai cube, just so I can show you this, we're using the etch sigil, which literally makes this build what it is, because it makes it so your Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, and Ray of Frost also cast one of your other damaging arcane power spenders every second. So as you can see down on the bar, I've got Arcane Twisters, I've got Blizzard, and I've got Dark Hole in addition to my Disintegrate. So those spells are constantly being cycled through as I cast Disintegrate. There was a Twister, there's the Blizzard, and any second now, there it is, the Dark Hole. So as you can see, and that's just from spamming one attack. Like, I only ever have to cast Disintegrate, and you're going to want that thanks to the Death Wish, thanks to the Herdgrash Binding, and also thanks to the Edge Sigil and these Mantles of Channeling, which, while channeling Disintegrate, we get 25% more damage and take 25% less damage, which really helps when you're stuck in the thick of things, but you're not going to want to stay in the thick of things very long. Trust me on that. For the last slot, a lot of people tell me Convention of Elements is best in slot here, but honestly, I don't feel it's all that necessary. I'm running it more out of habit right now since I'm currently in the process of testing stuff out for this final slot. But in all honesty, I feel like maybe you'd be better off running like an anti-element amulet. But I'm putting a big asterisk on that statement, because I'm sure that Convention of Element, even if you're only getting that damage buff when the fire damage ticks around, it's still a decent amount of damage increase. For skills here, we've got Energy Twister Gale Force, since this is a fire build. Enemies hit by Energy Twister take 15% increased damage from fire for 4 seconds. I'm running Disintegrate Convergence. Disintegrate damage is increased by 250% every second, up to a maximum total of 890% weapon damage as fire. And that starts from 390% damage. I've got Blizzard Apocalypse here. Call down shards of molten rock that deal 1075% weapon damage as fire over 6 seconds to enemies in a 30-yard radius. But multiple casts in the same area do not stack. We're using Teleport Wormhole just to give us that additional maneuverability. Some people might go for Safe Passage, and frankly, it is. I feel it's just as good, but I like if I teleport someplace and there's a bunch of enemies, I have time to react to that rather than just being stuck there and hoping that casting my skills will save my life. We're using Black Hole Blazer for 700% fire damage over 2 seconds, and then the Explosion, which deals more damage. We're using Ice Armor Crystallized to go with the Halo of Arlice that we're wearing. Between this and Halo of Arlice, unless you're doing like really high greater rifts, this takes away so much sting from the attack of melee enemies, and by freezing them it gives you that time to really deal with them. So I really like that. For passives here, I'm using Unwavering Will, Astral Presence, Audacity, and Illusionist, since I'm sure you all know what those do by now. Instead of Astral Presence, I've seen people running Elemental Exposure. Not sure why you do that if you're just running fire. I've seen people run with Conflagration. which increases the chance that they're critically hit. I've seen a couple people use blur just for the increased damage mitigation, but I don't think that's really necessary. So that's the end of the actual build part of the video. I'm not much for gameplay when it comes to videos, but I suppose I can show you how I play it. We'll rank it up to 50 here. Hopefully I don't make a fool out of myself. But let's take a look at the playstyle of the Firebird Wizard. So you just start by starting everything on fire. Burning everything is the key to victory. Now, a big thing with the Firebird Wizard, and I just made a horrible example of what not to do, but don't bother yourself with like small groups of less than, say, like 5 enemies, because at that time you're just you're wasting your time, really. You want mobs with this build. Definitely. Because the more things you have on fire, then the more damage everything's taking, and it's way better to run through and just burn. Watch the world burn. I can see that. I almost got flattened right there. But I don't have Endless Walk right now. It's kind of why I'm scrubbing it up. That extra damage percentage would be incredibly helpful right now. Oops. Got pinned by the wall. Ah, what a rookie mistake. Doesn't help that they're all mortaring me up. There we go. There we go. Gotcha. Yeah, now you can deal with fire and lightning. But this is basically what I do. I run through and I hit everything, I make sure everything's burning, and then I try and move on. Unless I put myself in a corner, in which case I have to back out of that corner. But simply because Firebird apparently loves mobs. Like, the more things you can have burning at once, the higher you get up your Firebird stack, and then that's an instant DPS increase, guys. See how that illusionist is helping us out by constantly resetting the cooldown for our teleport, so we can just zoom all around the dungeon. You can wait for things to burn out. And all in all, it's really satisfying to set all of your enemies on fire. Like, that is the guiltiest pleasure I will ever admit to having, but yes. At the end of the day, it is quite fun to zoom around a dungeon, setting my enemies on fire. Oh, goody. And now to just burn down the Rift Guardian. glad I saved that shield pylon. This is the only place where Firebird gets a little limited, is fighting Rift Guardians. But if you have the patience to sit through it, and you just keep holding that disintegrate, eventually you'll kill it off. Just like that. Then you can grab all your loot, talk to Urshi the bitch, so you can try and upgrade a gem or two. Then you go back to Auric and shut down your Greater Rift. And there you have the Firebird playstyle. So, a little gameplay for those of you who like gameplay videos. The build guide for those of you who simply enjoy that. So I'm going to log out here, guys. I thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, if you enjoy the way that I brought it about, you can go ahead and like me down in the down below. You can comment on the video, ask me questions if you have any. I'll do my best to answer them. I know quite a bit about the game, so you know, I'm always a helpful resource. I'm always glad to answer questions. But until next time, guys, in the next build video, I am WolfHunter52, and I'll see you next time. If you want, check out my Twitch stream on twitch.tv/AmatsuUkami. I will probably put, I'll put that in the description below so that you know how to spell that and you can go to that. So, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.